Nathan's shocking return rocks Port Charles, the truth about Monica's death exposed. The sterile white walls of General Hospital blur together as Nathan Wyast slowly opens his eyes, his vision swimming with confusion and disorientation. The accident that nearly claimed his life has left him with fragmented memories and a deep sense of unease about everything he once knew. As consciousness gradually returns, Nathan struggles to piece together the reality surrounding him, his mind grappling with gaps that feel both familiar and frighteningly foreign. When Dante Falconeri and Nina Reeves arrive at his bedside, their faces are etched with relief and concern. Nathan's eyes dart between them, searching for anchors in his confusion. The warmth in Nina's voice and the steady presence of Dante begin to unlock the doors in his mind that trauma had sealed shut. Slowly, like pieces of a shattered mirror reassembling themselves, Nathan begins to remember the truth about his supposed death and the elaborate deception that kept him hidden from the world. The revelation unfolds. As Nathan's memory clears, the full horror of his experience comes rushing back. With trembling hands and a voice heavy with emotion, he begins to tell Dante about the nightmare he endured. Faison, the master manipulator who had terrorized Port Charles for years, had orchestrated Nathan's fake death with surgical precision. The explosion, the chaos, the grief of his loved ones, all part of an elaborate scheme that kept Nathan imprisoned. While the world mourned his loss, Faison needed everyone to believe I was dead, Nathan explains, his voice growing stronger with each revelation. He kept me alive for his own twisted purposes, using me as leverage, as insurance for his future plans. The weight of lost time presses down on him as he realizes how many precious moments with his family and friends were stolen by Faison's manipulation. The conversation takes a devastating turn when Dante delivers news that shatters Nathan's heart. Monica Quartermain, the beloved matriarch and respected physician who had touched countless lives in Port Charles, is gone. The funeral service is happening even as they speak, bringing together the entire community to honor her memory and legacy. A dramatic funeral interruption. At the Quartermain mansion, grief hangs heavy in the air as family and friends gather to pay their final respects to Monica. Ned Quartermain stands at the front of the room, his usual composure cracked by the loss of his stepmother. Jason Morgan, the son Monica chose and loved unconditionally, struggles with emotions he rarely allows himself to feel. Tracy Quartermain, despite her complicated history with Monica, finds herself genuinely mourning the woman who became the heart of their fractured family. Brooke Lynn, representing the younger generation, clutches a tissue as tears flow freely down her cheeks. The eulogy has begun, painting a picture of Monica's dedication to medicine and her unwavering commitment to her family. When the impossible happens, the doors to the mansion swing open with dramatic force, and Nathan Wyast steps into the room. The collective gasp that escapes the assembled mourners could be heard throughout the house. Stunned silence fills the space as everyone struggles to process what they're seeing. Nathan, who they believed had been dead for months, stands before them very much alive. His appearance is different. The ordeal has left its mark on his features, but there's no mistaking that this is truly Nathan Wyast, returned from what everyone believed was the grave. The shocking truth revealed. As the initial shock begins to wear off, Nathan steps forward with purpose. His expression is grave, and there's an urgency in his movements that commands attention from everyone present. The mourners remain frozen in their seats, unable to reconcile the presence of a dead man at a funeral for another beloved member of their community. I know this is overwhelming, Nathan begins, his voice carrying through the hushed room. I know you have questions about how I'm here, about what happened to me. But first, I need to tell you something about Monica, something that will change everything you think you know about her death. Ned, Jason, Tracy, and Brooke Lynn lean forward, their grief now mixed with confusion and growing concern. Nathan takes a deep breath, knowing that his next words will send shockwaves through an already traumatized community. Monica's death wasn't an accident, Nathan declares, his voice steady despite the magnitude of his revelation. She didn't die from natural causes or medical complications. Someone deliberately took her life, and I know who did it. The room erupts in whispered conversations and gasps of disbelief. Monica Quartermain, murdered? The very idea seems impossible, yet Nathan's conviction is undeniable. The Faison connection. Nathan continues his revelation, each word carefully chosen to convey the full horror of what he's discovered. Cesare Faison is still alive, and he killed Monica to protect his secret. The name alone sends chills through everyone present. Faison's reign of terror had touched every family in Port Charles. leaving scars that many thought had finally healed with his apparent death. Monica accidentally discovered that Faison wasn't really dead, Nathan explains, his voice growing stronger as he shares the burden he's carried. She stumbled upon evidence of his survival during her medical work, perhaps through patient records or connections she made through her position at the hospital. Faison couldn't allow that information to surface. The method of Monica's death becomes clear as Nathan continues his account. He poisoned her, he reveals, the words hanging in the air like a toxic cloud. It was subtle, designed to look like natural causes. But Monica was murdered because she represented a threat to Faison's ability to operate in the shadows. The ripple effects. As Nathan's words sink in, the implications become staggering. If Faison is alive and willing to kill to protect his secret, then no one in Port Charles is truly safe. The grief over Monica's death transforms into something more complex, a mixture of mourning, rage, and fear that will drive the community toward seeking justice. Jason's fists clench as he processes the information. Monica wasn't just his mother figure. She was his anchor to humanity in a world that often demanded he suppress his emotions. The thought that she died protecting Port Charles from another Faison threat fills him with a cold fury that promises swift retribution. Tracy's business acumen immediately begins calculating the broader implications. If Faison is alive and has been operating in the shadows, what other damage has he already done? What other lives are at risk? Her protective instincts for her family intensify as she realizes that Monica's death might just be the beginning of a new reign of terror. Ned struggles with the dual burden of processing Nathan's return and the revelation about Monica's murder. As a Quartermain, he understands the responsibility that comes with this knowledge. The family will need to unite not just in grief, but in determination to see justice done. Brooklyn, representing the younger generation, feels the weight of learning that someone she trusted and loved died protecting others. Monica's legacy takes on new dimensions as it becomes clear that her final act was one of heroism, even if she didn't live to see its importance. Setting the stage for justice, Nathan's dramatic return and shocking revelation set the stage for a new chapter in Port Charles' ongoing battle against the forces of evil. Faison's apparent survival means that old wounds will be reopened, and new strategies must be developed to finally end his threat permanently. The funeral that was meant to celebrate Monica's life has become the catalyst for a mission of justice. Her memory will now fuel the determination of everyone she touched to ensure that Faison pays for his crimes and that no one else suffers the fate that befell the beloved doctor. As Nathan stands in the room surrounded by the people Monica loved, he knows that his survival and return have given him a unique responsibility. He alone possesses the knowledge and evidence needed to expose Faison's survival and bring him to justice. Monica's death will not be in vain if her discovery leads to Faison's final downfall. The stage is set for an explosive confrontation that will test every relationship and alliance in Port Charles, with Nathan at the center of a storm that promises to reshape the landscape of their community forever. Next, we will learn about the explosive confrontation brewing between Lulu Spencer and Britt Westburn that could potentially lead to serious legal action in the form of a restraining order. The September 23rd episode delivered a shocking encounter that left viewers stunned by the dramatic shift in character dynamics and the potential ramifications for young Rocco Falcone's future. The peace offering that went wrong. The latest developments in Port Charles took an unexpected turn when Lulu Spencer made the difficult decision to approach Britt Westburn with what appeared to be genuine intentions of establishing peaceful coexistence. This wasn't a spontaneous decision, but rather a carefully considered move by Lulu, who had been wrestling with the complex emotions surrounding her son Rocco's natural curiosity about the woman who carried him for 9 months. Sources close to the storyline reveal that Lulu had spent sleepless nights preparing for this conversation, knowing full well the potential landmines that lay ahead in any discussion with the volatile doctor. The meeting itself was orchestrated with Lulu believing that mature dialogue could pave the way for a workable arrangement that would satisfy Rocco's innocent questions while protecting everyone involved from unnecessary drama. However, what should have been a constructive conversation quickly devolved into a verbal battlefield, with Britt demonstrating a level of hostility that caught even seasoned General Hospital fans off guard. Britt's shocking transformation, perhaps the most disturbing aspect of this entire situation, is witnessing the dramatic personality regression that Britt Westburn has undergone. Since her return from the dead, longtime viewers will remember the significant character growth that Britt had achieved before her supposed demise. transforming from a scheming opportunist into a more compassionate and self-aware individual. The Brit who had learned to consider others' feelings and make sacrifices for the greater good seems to have vanished, replaced by an even more ruthless version of her former self. During the confrontation, Brit's declaration that Lulu would not be putting any constraints on her connecting with her son revealed a possessiveness that borders on dangerous obsession. The way she emphasized her son when referring to Rocco demonstrated a complete disregard for the biological and legal realities of the situation. Industry insiders suggest that this character shift might be part of a larger storyline, designed to create maximum conflict, but it has left many fans questioning whether the writers have abandoned the carefully crafted character development that made Brit's previous redemption arc so compelling. Lulu's unexpected maturity. In a surprising turn of events, Lulu Spencer found herself in the unusual position of being the reasonable party in this dispute. Regular viewers know that Lulu has been particularly difficult to sympathize with since awakening from her coma, displaying an insufferable attitude that has tested even her most loyal fans' patience. However, her approach to the Brit situation demonstrated a level of emotional maturity that has been notably absent from her recent character portrayal. The fact that Lulu was willing to extend an olive branch to the woman who caused her immeasurable pain shows genuine growth and puts her parental instincts in a positive light. Her willingness to consider some form of compromise regarding Brit's relationship with Rocco, despite their complicated history, revealed a mother putting her child's emotional needs above her own desire for revenge or complete control. This newfound maturity has even extended to her ongoing conflicts with Brooklyn Quartermaine, suggesting that motherhood may finally be teaching Lulu the value of choosing battles wisely. The unforgivable past. The conversation inevitably circled back to the fundamental violation that created this impossible situation in the first place. Brit's theft of Lulu's embryo represents one of the most heinous acts in General Hospital history, involving not just medical malpractice, but the theft of motherhood itself. The fact that Brit implanted Lulu's stolen genetic material into herself, and then gave birth to Lulu and Dante Falcone's biological child, creates a psychological complexity that defies easy resolution. What makes this situation even more problematic is Brit's continued refusal to offer a genuine, heartfelt apology for her actions. While she may have expressed regret in passing moments, she has never fully acknowledged the depth of trauma she inflicted on Lulu and Dante by stealing their chance to experience those crucial early months of parenthood. Even Brooklyn Quartermaine, who is hardly known for her moral high ground, recognized the unimaginable nature of Brit's actions and expressed this sentiment directly to Lulu. Cruel psychological warfare. During their recent confrontation, Brit employed particularly vicious psychological tactics that revealed her capacity for calculated cruelty. Her decision to weaponize the precious memories from Rocco's infancy memories that rightfully belonged to Lulu demonstrated a level of maliciousness that shocked viewers. By throwing these stolen moments in Lulu's face, Brit was essentially torturing a mother with reminders of the irreplaceable experiences that were stolen from her. The specific mention of many stories about Rocco from when he was a baby that only she could tell him was designed to inflict maximum emotional damage. This wasn't merely about establishing her connection with Rocco. It was about asserting dominance over Lulu by emphasizing what she had lost. The timing of these revelations, coming at a moment when Lulu was attempting to be cooperative and reasonable, made Brit's behavior appear even more vindictive and unnecessarily cruel. Rocco caught in the middle. The most tragic aspect of this escalating conflict is the innocent child caught between two women, with legitimate claims to care about his welfare. Rocco's natural curiosity about his birth circumstances represents normal childhood development, but his innocent questions have become ammunition in an adult battle that threatens to damage him psychologically. The young boy's expressed interest in speaking with Brit shows that he's already forming his own opinions about the situation, which could complicate any legal proceedings that might follow. Child psychology experts often warn about the dangers of putting children in positions where they feel responsible for adult conflicts. If the situation continues to escalate, Rocco may begin to blame himself for the tension between the two most important women in his life. The potential for long-term emotional damage increases exponentially if he becomes aware that his mere existence is the source of such intense conflict. The restraining order possibility. Given Brit's aggressive behavior and refusal to respect reasonable boundaries, legal intervention may become Lulu's only viable option. A restraining order would represent a nuclear option in this family drama, but Britt's conduct during their meeting may have made such extreme measures necessary. Legal experts suggest that Britt's threats to ignore any constraints Lulu might attempt to impose could be interpreted as intimidation tactics that justify court intervention. The process of obtaining a restraining order would require Lulu to document specific instances of threatening behavior and demonstrate that Britt poses a genuine risk to her family's well-being. While the threshold for such orders varies by jurisdiction, Britt's history of deception and her current hostile attitude could provide sufficient grounds for judicial protection. However, this legal route would likely make any future reconciliation extremely difficult and could permanently damage any chance of a peaceful resolution. Hope for redemption. Despite the current trajectory toward legal conflict, many longtime fans continue to hope that the compassionate side of Britt Westburn will eventually resurface. The character's previous growth arc proved that she was capable of genuine change and selfless behavior when properly motivated. Perhaps the shock of realizing how her current behavior is affecting innocent parties, particularly Rocco, might serve as the wake-up call needed to redirect her character back toward a more positive path. The writers of General Hospital have historically used extreme conflict as a precursor to eventual redemption stories. If Britt can recognize the damage she's causing and make genuine amends for both her past actions and current behavior, there might still be hope for a resolution that serves everyone's best interests. However, this would require her to swallow her pride and acknowledge the legitimate grievances that Lulu continues to harbor. Next, we will learn about the devastating developments surrounding Monica Quartermain's funeral that promise to shake the very foundations of Port Charles and potentially destroy the Quartermain family legacy forever. The memorial episodes that will change everything. The upcoming tribute to Monica Quartermain represents far more than a simple farewell to a beloved character and the legendary Leslie Charleson who portrayed her for decades. These carefully crafted memorial episodes, scheduled to air September 25th and 26th, have been designed as a two-part emotional powerhouse that will honor both the actress and her iconic character, while simultaneously launching one of the most explosive storylines in recent General Hospital history. Behind the scenes, production sources reveal that these episodes required months of meticulous planning, with writers crafting dialogue that would serve dual purposes, celebrating Monica's incredible journey while setting up dramatic plot developments that will reverberate throughout Port Charles for months to come. The show's commitment to honoring Leslie Charleson's 5-decade legacy, while maintaining the soap opera's trademark dramatic intensity, represents a delicate balancing act that few productions could successfully execute. A gathering of familiar faces and hidden agendas. The funeral service itself promises to be a spectacular reunion of characters, spanning multiple generations of General Hospital history. Family members, medical colleagues from General Hospital, and community leaders will converge on the Quartermain mansion to pay their respects to the matriarch who touched countless lives throughout her remarkable tenure in Port Charles. However, beneath the surface of grief and remembrance, darker currents are already beginning to flow. The guest list for Monica's memorial includes several individuals with complicated relationships to the deceased, and the potential for explosive confrontations remains high throughout the proceedings. Long-buried secrets and unresolved conflicts threaten to surface at the most inappropriate moments, turning what should be a solemn occasion into a powder keg of family drama. The presence of various Quartermain family members, each with their own claims and expectations regarding Monica's legacy, creates an atmosphere ripe for conflict. The delicate balance between honoring the dead and protecting living interests will prove increasingly difficult to maintain as hidden agendas begin to surface. Martin Gray's mysterious machinations. The involvement of Martin Gray in these proceedings introduces an element of legal complexity that extends far beyond simple estate planning. His mysterious phone call to an unnamed individual suggests a carefully orchestrated scheme that has been developing behind the scenes for quite some time. Martin's reputation for manipulating legal situations to benefit his clients and himself makes him a particularly dangerous player in this unfolding drama. Sources close to the storyline indicate that Martin's phone call represents the culmination of weeks of careful preparation. The identity of his contact and the specific nature of their arrangement remain shrouded in secrecy, but the timing of this communication suggests that Monica's death has triggered a predetermined sequence of events designed to benefit parties unknown to the grieving Quartermain family. The legal implications of Martin's actions could prove far-reaching, potentially invalidating existing estate planning documents and creating opportunities for previously unknown parties to stake claims on Monica's considerable assets. His willingness to participate in such schemes suggests that substantial financial incentives are driving his behavior, with his own compensation likely tied to the success of whatever plot he's helping to execute. The shocking rival of Monica's long-lost sister. The introduction of Monica's estranged sister, reportedly named Ronnie and portrayed by soap opera legend Erika Slezak, represents one of the most audacious casting coups in recent General Hospital history. Slezak's reputation for portraying complex, morally ambiguous characters makes her the perfect choice for a role that will require her to navigate the treacherous waters of family loyalty and personal ambition. The timing of Ronnie's arrival during the funeral proceedings suggests a deliberate strategy, designed to maximize emotional impact and minimize the family's ability to mount effective resistance to her claims. By appearing at the moment when the Quartermains are most vulnerable and emotionally compromised, she gains a significant tactical advantage that could prove decisive in any subsequent legal battles. The estrangement between Monica and her sister likely stems from events that occurred decades ago, possibly involving family disputes over money, romantic relationships, or professional rivalries. The length of their separation suggests that whatever drove them apart was serious enough to maintain animosity for years, making Ronnie's sudden reappearance even more suspicious and potentially threatening to the established family order. The battle for the Quartermain Mansion. The Quartermain Mansion represents far more than simply valuable real estate. It stands as the physical embodiment of one of Port Charles' most prominent families, and serves as the repository for generations of memories, secrets, and accumulated wealth. The potential transfer of ownership to Monica's long-lost sister would represent a seismic shift in the local power structure and could have devastating consequences for current residents. Tracy Quartermain's assertion that the property should rightfully belong to Michael Corinthos reflects both legal realities and family dynamics that have been developing for years. Michael's connection to the Quartermain family through his adoption by Monica created bonds that transcended traditional blood relationships, and his demonstrated loyalty to family values makes him a natural heir to the family legacy. However, the manipulation of legal documents and the potential invalidation of Monica's stated wishes could override these considerations entirely. If Martin Gray has indeed facilitated the creation of alternative inheritance arrangements, the resulting legal battles could drag on for months or years, leaving the mansion's ownership in limbo while various parties fight for control. Tracy's determination to protect family interests. Tracy Quartermain's reaction to the arrival of Monica's sister promises to be swift and decisive. Her long history of protecting family interests through any means necessary makes her a formidable opponent for anyone attempting to usurp Quartermain assets or authority. The characterization of Monica's sister as an outsider and threat reflects Tracy's instinctive response to challenges to family stability. The suggestion that Tracy might decide to eliminate this new threat should not be taken lightly, given her history of employing both legal and extralegal methods to achieve her objectives. Her resources, connections, and willingness to engage in ruthless competition make her a dangerous adversary for anyone foolish enough to underestimate her commitment to family preservation. The coming conflict between Tracy and Ronnie will likely involve multiple battlefields, including legal challenges to estate documents, investigations into the validity of claimed relationships, and potentially violent confrontations between supporters of each faction. The intensity of this rivalry could escalate rapidly, particularly if substantial financial assets are at stake. The financial stakes and hidden motivations, the true scope of Monica's fortune, and the various parties interested in claiming portions of it, remain largely hidden from public view. The Quartermain family wealth, accumulated over generations through various business ventures and investments, likely represents tens of millions of dollars in combined assets. The potential for such substantial financial gain provides powerful motivation for various parties to pursue aggressive legal strategies. Martin Gray's involvement suggests that his compensation for facilitating Ronnie's claims could involve substantial percentages of recovered assets, creating powerful incentives for him to employ increasingly aggressive tactics. The specific terms of his arrangement with Ronnie and any other parties remain unknown, but the complexity of the legal maneuvering suggests that multiple individuals stand to benefit significantly from the successful execution of this scheme. the broader implications for Port Charles society could be substantial, as the redistribution of Quartermain wealth might affect charitable organizations, medical institutions, and various business enterprises that have historically relied on family support. The potential for widespread economic disruption adds another layer of complexity to an already volatile situation. The emotional toll on surviving family members. Beyond the legal and financial implications, the emotional impact on surviving Quartermain family members promises to be devastating. The transformation of Monica's memorial service from a celebration of life into a battlefield for competing interests represents a profound violation of the grieving process, and could inflict lasting psychological damage on those who genuinely loved and respected the deceased. Michael Corinthos, in particular, faces the potential loss of both his adopted mother and the family home that represents his connection to Quartermain traditions and values. The psychological impact of such losses, combined with the stress of legal battles and family conflicts, could have far-reaching consequences for his personal and professional relationships. The broader Quartermain family network, including various cousins, in-laws, and long-term associates, also faces uncertainty regarding their future relationships with family resources and traditions. The potential fragmentation of family unity could destroy decades of carefully maintained relationships and eliminate the social stability that the Quartermain name has historically provided in Port Charles society. This explosive storyline promises to reshape the landscape of General Hospital permanently, with repercussions that will likely continue for months, as various parties struggle to establish their legitimate claims to Monica's legacy, while honoring her memory and protecting the interests of those she truly cared about.